And there's not always anything wrong with Botox filler, buying the things that are expensive. But behind all of that, can you walk into a room and still be yourself? That's the real question here. Hey, it's Morgan, and welcome to season 2 of Permission Podcast. This season, we're not playing it safe. We're not editing the truth to make it easier to swallow. We're not shrinking it, softening it, or wrapping it up with something more acceptable. This season is where we say it, even when it's uncomfortable, when it changes us, and even when it costs us. Because the truth is, the version of you that everyone understands is usually the version that's been filtered. And I'm not interested in that anymore. This season is about unlearning the rules you didn't realize you were following. The ones that told you who to be, how to love, how to show up, how much you want. It's about taking your voice back, your standards back, and your identity back. Fully, unapologetically, in real time. We're talking about the things people feel but don't always say out loud, desires, boundaries, relationships, identity, power, the messy middle of becoming someone new, not the polished version of it, the real one. So if you've been feeling that quiet pull, like something in your life doesn't quite fit anymore, this is your space. Not to become someone else, but to come back to yourself. This is Permission Podcast, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today's episode, we're talking about say it. Say it even if it ruins the room, because there's no such thing as you ruining the room. And we're going to go as segments. So it just kind of breaks down understanding what we are learning and adapting into the world. So I'm excited to share this, but let's get into it. There is a version of me that used to sit in rooms and rehearse every single thing before I said it. If you haven't seen the show Insecure, I highly recommend, because before she goes and does anything in her life, she steps in front of the mirror and has a full-on conversation with herself just to clarify and justify her wants and needs and desires. And it's really funny because I really swear that she is my soul sister, my spirit animal. So if you haven't seen Insecure, go check it out so you can, understand what I'm talking about. We can vibe check there. So I was rehearsing everything that I said before I said it, not because I didn't know what I wanted to say. It was more so because I was trying to predict how it would make sense or land for the person listening in. How you say things or how they're perceived is so contradicting to you as a human, because a lot of people take things very, very personally. And what I've learned is it's not always about how they perceive it. It's just making sure that you have the opportunity to say the thing. So when I was thinking about how I would say what was on my mind, I would have these questions and I would ask myself, would it make the other person uncomfortable? Would it make me look like I'm too much? Would it shift the dynamic of the relationship, of the friendship, of the co-working experience? Like, what almost were the consequences of me saying the thing? And to think that there would be consequences as opposed to pros of speaking your mind is just baffling to me. Like, how did my brain get to that point? And while I would be realizing and rehearsing these moments, there was something that I realized along the way. I realized that there was absolutely no problem with the thing that I was saying. The problem was the fact that I was editing what I was saying and how I was saying it. The fact that any editing was going on at all was the problem. So we're heading into segment 1 of this episode, and it is the cost of being palatable. Now listen, we don't talk enough about how expensive it is to be liked. There's Botox, there's filler, there's clothes, there's cars, there's all these physical things that people will buy into to look the part. And it is expensive, because when you are constantly filtering yourself and not showing up as yourself, you're not actually truthfully allowing yourself to be accepted, because you've presented yourself as somebody else. Now, let me tell you, that is exhausting. It is so performative. And you are being accepted by these people, these friends, these relationships, these co-working experiences. You're being accepted for a version of you that actually doesn't exist, that actually isn't even real. You've just created it through purchases. Now, I know that is probably really, really hard for people to hear, but it is my duty not to lie to you. And there's not always anything wrong with Botox filler, buying the things that are expensive. But behind all of that, can you walk into a room and still be yourself? That's the real question here. And I have a question for you. Are you being accepted for a version of yourself that doesn't fully exist? And can you understand that when you do this, it actually creates resentment within yourself? And you start asking yourself, why don't people see me? Why don't people want to hang out with me? Why don't people want to be in rooms with me? Why isn't my business progressing? Why aren't my networking relationships pushing me through the sky? Why am I not making tens of thousands of millions of dollars? And the truth, the real answer to this question that I've just asked you is you never gave them the chance to. You never gave them the chance to because you were performing and trying to be something likable, something that would be accepted easily because that's what everyone else is doing. You never gave these people around you the opportunity to accept you as you. Now we're heading into segment 2. I know that was a lot, but promise, just stay with me. It gets even better in the best possible way. So the moment it all clicked, for me anyways, is I personally have never had the best female relationships growing up. And it really was because in high school, we're confused. We're young teenagers. And it started in high school because there were these groups of girls that they would all hang out together. And I am a very personal, I actually enjoy myself. And so I would see these girls getting together and, obviously there were parts of the time when I was by myself where I wish that I was, with girlfriends. You're in high school. You want to be fun. You want to be silly. And I started asking myself, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why doesn't anyone want to hang out with me? So it was a little bit twisted. Whereas the fact is before changing myself, I was asking myself, why doesn't anyone want to hang out with me? Why am I not good enough for anyone to hang out with me? But when I started asking myself that, it was because you're not like them. So maybe you need to be like them so that they will like you. Now, let me tell you, that was the worst freaking advice I could have gave myself because the decision to change who I was had affected me until my early 30s. I was constantly from 15 years old trying to be like everyone else so that I could fit in. It had transpired to a whole adulthood life not being myself. And being that I had chosen to forget who I was, in the moment, I thought it was just a small decision. But when I step out of the frame and I see the big picture, that decision was such a dramatic moment. And that small decision was so big that now that I'm older and I've lived more of my life, I have noticed how many conversations where I ask myself, why didn't I just say the thing? Why didn't I just say no? Why didn't I leave when I wanted to leave? Why did I even go in the first place? Why am I wearing this color because everyone else is wearing this color? Why am I in a relationship because everyone else thinks that this is what the relationship desires? Or this is what I need out of the relationship? Or my partner thinks that I can only be in the relationship with them or I can only survive with them. They have convinced me of all of these decisions, and I actually haven't decided for myself until you have a moment in your life where you finally decide that in order for me to live my life in the best possible way, I have to make decisions that put me first. I have to listen to that little voice in my head that tells me I'm meant for more. My life is meant for so much more. This is the only life that I have, and it is literally my responsibility to make sure that I live out all of the things that I have for myself. And that day when I decided to listen to my voice was the day that I decided that I'm not shrinking anymore. I'm not being likable by everyone else because it's what fits for them. And I'd rather be misunderstood than invisible to not only myself, but to the people around me. I wanted to stand into a room and have people acknowledge me, not because of what I look like or sound like, but because I acknowledged myself. I finally wanted to put myself first. And that is exactly what I did. And it was awkward. And we'll talk about that in segment 3. Segment 3 is about letting it be awkward, like I am right now. The awkward part is actually the part that nobody tells you, but I'm going to break it down for you right here and right now. Speaking honestly is what will change rooms. It is what will pivot you to visibility. You showing up and speaking up for yourself and doing the thing for yourself, it is what is going to shake rooms when you enter them. It might make things quiet. It might make people shift. It might even cost you certain dynamics, but it's definitely not going to cost you yourself. And in the change of you showing up and saying the things and speaking honestly, it will call in the perfect people who see you for exactly who you are. They will meet you exactly where you are without you having to change or shrink yourself or make yourself invisible. The friends that are around you that speak life into you, that love you the way you are, will only want you to be the best version of yourself. They won't want you to change who you are. They want you to reveal to them, to yourself and to the world, how capable, how beautiful, how strong, how powerful you are. When you are in rooms of people that understand you and want to meet you where you are, you will reveal the best version of yourself. So if you're in a season where you feel like life is holding you back, this is your permission. Say the thing, do the thing, not perfectly, not strategically, not when it's safe. Say it when it's real. Say it even if it's going to ruin the room, because the right rooms, they're not going to break you when you tell the truth. Thanks so much for tuning in today's episode. If today's episode spoke to you, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, or DM me on Instagram so we can talk about it more.